moments. Is it clear? But unlike Avram, if when we have to say Avraham, we are saying Avram, we are over a mitzvah. When we have to say Avram and instead we read it Avraham, and instead we read his name Avram the way it used to be. Unlike Yaakov, we maintain the two names. Yaakov's name is still legitimate and part of Torah even after he was called Yisroel. So you can approach these facts from many, many angles, many levels. But let's present one perspective tonight. So the two names of Yaakov and Yisroel, this is from Chassidus Aklalis, from the general Chassidus of Nativus Shalom, that brings from the general Chassidus. Regarding the two names of Yaakov and Yisroel in our Parsha, they are corresponding and keneged. Keneged, how you say keneged? Counteracting. These two names are counteracting and are dealing with two types of war that we find in connection to Yaakov, that represents the two types of war that every Jew is fighting, because we are all called Bnei Israel. And these are the two wars. The war that he battled against Lavan, and the war that Yaakov battled against Esau. And al derech havoida, says the Nesivus Shalom, the Abeis Inyanim Ha'ikrim, these are the main two areas in which the Yetzer Hara often takes over and becomes stronger. There is an inyan of Yetzer Hara that is shayach to Lavan, and there is a Yetzer Hara that is shayach to Esau. What is the klipa of Lavan? What is the ungodly force of Lavan? The klipa of Lavan is pagam b'moach, is a blemish in the brain, blemish in the mind, blemish be'emuna, in faith, is the blemish in the mind, in the brain, in the intellect, in the Chabad. It's a blemish in emuna, in faith, and blemish in deot ve'ashkafot, in opinions and in philosophies. So it is an ungodly and kind of defiled, kind of klipa type of intellect, klipa types of ashkafos, of world views, the way human beings at times look at reality. That is represented by Lavan. As the Pasuk says, that Lavan is saying, Habanos bnosai vehabanim banai vehatzon tzoni vechol asher ata ro'eh elihu. Lavan says to Yaakov, the daughters are my daughters, the sons are my sons, the sheep are my sheep, and everything that you see around you is mine. I own it. This, says Chassidus, is the klipa of kfira, of heresy. When a human being, and let's not exclude ourselves that at times we can fall in the same trap, feels that kochi ve'otzem yadi asa li es hachayil hazeh, that my own strength, my own power, my own smartness accomplished this success. It happens, doesn't it? And this is what we say in the Seder Pesach, in the Haggadah, about Lavan, ביקש לעקור, ולבן ביקש לעקור את הכל. Lavan was looking to uproot everything. Why? שביקש לטמא את המוח. Lavan wanted to defile the moach, the brain. Similar, by the way, that we are talking now, approaching Hanukkah, the defiling of the Shmanim, the defiling of the Chochmas Elokis, the divine wisdom that the Greeks did. And similar to that, Lavan bikesh letameh es hamoach. What is the moach? We learn in Tanya that in the moach the neshama is shoira. Where does the soul reveal itself? In the brain. We have been learning it recently a lot. So Lavan wanted to defile the brain where the neshama dwells. Neshama achelek elokah mima'al. How? By kfira, by planting hashkafas of heresy and disqualified attitudes that are basing reality on self-serving kind of approaches and methods. And that's why it's called that Lavan was looking to uproot everything. Because once the mind is contaminated, once the ashkafos are contaminated, once they lose their divine truth, then everything else follows. That's the klipa of Lavan. Then everything gets uprooted. Everything gets compromised. That's the klipa of Lavan. Then we have the Yetzer Hara of Esav. The Yetzer Hara of Esav, inyano b'maise, not so much the brain, but behavior, action. About the way the Chazal said about Esav, that he had, how shall I say, aggressive, illegal relationships with engaged girls and married women, and he was killing and murdering, which is connected to Resicha Saddam, to the boiling of the blood. He was red. And that is shayach to the section of Taivos, to the realm of Taivos. So if Lavan is in the realm of the philosophy, the brain, the attitudes, the opinions, the emunas, the beliefs, Esav is shayach to Taivos. Addictions, lusts, and desires. So the main is Gabos, empowerment of Klipa of Esav, says Chassidus, is an evarim in those associated with those organs that are the hosts of desires, the channels of the experiences of desires. And it is shayach to nefesh habahamis. By doing animalistic things or negative things, and Resicha Saddam, the passion, the blood, is boiling from this desire to forbidden acts and behaviors. And these two names of Yaakov are corresponding to these two inyanim of Yetzer Hara. How so? How so? The name Yaakov was established, as the Torah tells us, about Yaakov. The pasuk says, "Veyado ochezes be'akev Esav," that Yaakov was born with his hand holding the heel of Esav. And this is hinting to the Mador HaTa'avos, to the department of Taivos. The Akev represents the lowest aspect of the human interest, which means physical desires, the animalistic aspect, the klipa of Esav. And therefore he was called Yaakov. Why? Because he overcame the Midas HaTaiva. He overcame that which is represented by the piate, by the ekev, by the heel all the lowly taivos of Esav. That's the name Yaakov. What about the name Yisrael? Corresponding and antagonizing and overcoming the klipa of Lavan, that its agenda is to defile the brain, the ashkafa, the faith, the emunos in the head, with wrong kinds of ashkafa, ungodly kind of attitudes. This is hinted in the name Israel, because the name Israel is Osios Li Rosh, which means to permeate Elokus in the mind of the person, with clear faith, with clear, truthful, pristine ashkafos and opinions. And these two names of Yaakov and Israel are corresponding to these two inyanim of Yetzer Hara. You can find it also in Torah, which is the midah of Yaakov. Yaakov is Tiferes. Tiferes is associated with Torah. Mitzvahs are associated with Chesed, and Tefillah is associated with Gvura, Milamata Lamaila, and Torah is associated with Tiferes, Yaakov, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Because Torah, as Chazal say, I'm not going to take more of your time from this, that the Torah shines the mind of the person, and the Torah, and therefore helps him to deal with the klipa of Lavan and maintain the right emunah and the right ashkafa and the right view of reality, not to get distorted and not to get misled. And Torah also has the power, and it gives the strength to overcome the klipa of Esav, the klipa of addictions to pulls and temptations of this world that are ungodly and are not lasting and are not contributing to our personal growth or the development of our, or the expression, the ability of the soul, the true soul, divine soul, to express itself in a person and eventually in the world. So these are the two inyanim that we are working through and working out and elevating through the two names that we have, Yaakov and Yisrael. So that's regarding the Parsha. And let's conclude with a short summary, not even a summary, a few points from Dvar Malchus that, again, I recommend each one to learn it as a whole session, not just a kitzur.
Can we ask a few questions before you go on, or do you want us to wait for you?
No, let's ask. Why not?
Go ahead. It's Chayedel.
Yes, Chayedel.
I don't know if you want to get into it, but I did a sikha last week with my husband, and was speaking about Lavan Ilah.
Lavan Ilah is what is called the skull.
The skull?
What color is the skull?
What color is it? Gray?
Huh?
What color is the skull?
What color is the skull?
White. Lavan. White.
Lavan. Lavan is white. So what is the skull representing? The skull is over the brain, right? So what does the skull represent? Keser.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically arich. The ratzon, the will of the person, the desire of the person. And what it represents is keser, which means beyond chokhmah.
Yes.
So Lavan, the klipa, is contaminated emunos, faith, distorted faith in the self rather than in God, basically,
Mm-hmm.
and in the gashmius of the world rather than the creator of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And Lavan, the kedusha, is represented by the skull, which is keser, which represents Or and Sof. Keser is before there is any form, before Spheros revealed Spheros. Keser is like a point of the divine.
Right before Sfiras.
It's like the meeting point between the infinite and the finite. That's Keser. So that's Lavan. And Lavan, and from there, by the way, and there in Keser dwells Ein Sof. Keser already belongs to the world of Ein Sof, the infinity. It's especially Pnimis HaKeser. It's the last aspect of godliness, where it meets the first aspect of worlds. That's Lavan Lemaila. And from this Lavan, from this Keser Elyon, which is basically godliness before it shows itself as Spheros. Okay, as revealed Spheros, we get inspiration every morning. There is a Hiserus, as awakening of the soul every morning from this Lavan, Bikdusha, from this Keser, to arouse the neshama to wake up, not only physically, that the body should wake up, but there should be a new energy with which a person can get up in the morning, and even though we went to sleep exhausted, sigh from whatever good things we did, and sigh from challenges, whatever it is, next morning we awake with a new energy.
Renewed.
A new energy, new, and ready to start anew. And that is an awakening. The Lavan Elyon is an alarm clock that wakes us up in the morning spiritually. But what we will do after we wake up, that is not Lavan. The Kedusha, Lavan, the Kedusha, the Holy Lavan is not responsible anymore. That is up to you. We're learning it in Samach Vav. We have been learning for those. None of the people here learn Samach Vav. The Rebbe Rashav in Samach Vav brings it up. In any case, we need to talk about the summary of the Dvar Malchus of Vayishlach. The Rebbe began talking about Yutes Kislev and Chanukah. That there is a chidush that doesn't exist in other Yamim Tovim. And that is that the date of Yutes Kislev and Chanukah are in the dates of these Yamim Tovim are in the second half of the month, in which the moon decreases its light. And we know, unlike all the other Yamim Tovim, that are happening either in the beginning of the month when the moon begins to get fuller. We know that the Jewish people are compared to the moon, and therefore all the Jewish holidays are either like Shavuos more in the beginning of the month, or like Sukkot in the middle of the month, or Purim in the middle of the month, or Pesach in the middle of the month when the moon is full. That's the time to celebrate. How come Yutes Kislev, the Rosh Hashanah of Hasidus, and Chanukah are in the second half of the month where and when the moon decreases its light, representing the Jewish people? The Rebbe explained a whole deep concept here. And the deep concept is, in one point, that the decrease of the light of the moon in the second half, to the second half of the month, is only a decrease in the light of the moon, not in the condition of the moon itself. And this is reflected by the fact that really, illogically, so to speak, when we count the days of the month, we go from the point of the moon is like a dot, and we say Aleph, and then we go Beis, Gimel, Dalet, until 15. 15, the moon is full. So logically, we should now, as the moon is decreasing, we should count back from 15th of the month, again, 14, 13, 12, 11, until we get to the point to the moon disappears, and that's the end of the month, back to Aleph. And then we will start again. That should be more logical. And here we are increasing, that the day after the 15th, when the moon is full, and the day after, when it begins to decrease, we continue to count, and we go higher, 16, 17, 18, 19, and the Rebbe went through each one what it means. It means higher in meaning as well, higher in light. 17 is Tov, and 18 is Chai, and so on. Very interesting to go to the different ones, but we don't have time. How so? So the Rebbe says that really, this is the time that it's true that the external manifestation of the moon in terms of its light is decreasing. But this is the time that the moon is now getting closer and closer to the sun and is going to now unite, create a yichud, marry the sun, we become one with the sun. And actually, in order to create any marriage between a Dvar and Malchus, between a husband and a wife, between male and female, we need a higher light than both. And the Rebbe said that that's what happens. When the moon is decreasing, it actually, what is decreasing is any revelations from the moon. But what is happening to the moon itself is the moon is getting closer and closer and closer to the sun, number one, and closer and closer and closer to the essence of the light, which is even higher than the sun, than both. And therefore we keep counting, showing that we are getting higher and higher and higher, really. And therefore, eventually how it will be expressed in the Geula, Amitis V'Ashlema, is that the moon will be again equal to the sun. It will be an equal luminary. The only reason why the moon decreased is because the moon had to go down. The moon represents the Shekhinah, and the Jewish soul had to go down and deal with clippers of this world. So it had to be diminished. But in the Geula, it goes back and even higher. And now it can be completely on the same level of the sun, and that means that Mashpia and Mekabel are one. That means that God and the Jewish people are on the same level. They are married. Yichud. Incredible. The ideas that the Rebbe came up in those few parshas of Toldos and Vayishlach, Vayetze, Vayishlach, why Yaakov was sleeping the first time after all these years, also to show the same inyan. He wanted to reach a level which is higher than, when a person is conscious, the seichel is the highest, and the mais is the lowest, so the person stands up. But when you want to reach the essence, you want to put all your koiches, your manifestations, your giluim, you want to put them equally, you lie down, because you want to reach your essence. That's why Yaakov was lying down, and that was the place of the Mikdash, of the temple. Mikdash Oisios Damasek. Damascus of Syria is Oisios Damasek, which is, you put out up to date, thank you, Hasidah Rabbi Majeski mentioned it, the same Oisios of Mikdash. And it's brought in different sources that when Damasek will surrender, Mashiach is coming. In anyhow, that's not what the Rebbe said then in Dvar Malchus. But that's why Yutes Kislev comes out at that time of the second half of the month, because Yutes Kislev is connected to Gilui HaChasidus, the Torah of Mashiach, and the time of Mashiach, the Levana will be full again, and will be as strong as the sun again. And this is emphasized especially now, because at the time of when we read those parshas, Yaakov thought that Esav was ready. After he dealt with Lavan, he thought that Esav was ready to be elevated as well. and Esav was not. And that's why, therefore, that means that the whole world was not. Yet. But now the Rebbe says, and that was Tafshin Nun Beis, and now, even in our time for sure, the world is ready, and this is different from the time of Yaakov, the original Yaakov, because now, and especially in connected to Kislev, which the moon was full 3 times already from the beginning of this year. And so too applies to Hanukkah. Hanukkah is also, we celebrate, Hasidus is the Shemen Shebatorah, and Hanukkah is the holiday of Shemen, of oil, that represents Yechida Shebanefesh, and the Yechida of Am Yisrael, and the union of Yechida with the Yachid, with Hashem. The Ma'aser Ha'ikar, let's conclude, says the Rebbe. When we come from the Shabbos before Yutes Kislev, and then reach Hanukkah, we need to make farbrengens everywhere. Starting from Tesvav Kislev, and continue, of course, we began already Tes and Yud, and then next week, this coming Sunday, is Yud Dalet Kislev, the anniversary, the marriage of the Rebbe to the daughter of the Friedeker Rebbe, about which the Rebbe said that with this marriage, this shidduch connected me with you, said the Rebbe, and we together, you and me, will bring Mashiach. This is this coming Sunday, Bezos Hashem, and the Rebbe said that the Chassidus, that the Friedeker Rebbe said on the, this is not in Dvar Malchus, I'm just interjecting a few things, that Chassidus, that the Friedeker Rebbe said on Yudalet Kislev is connected directly with the Geula. So the Rebbe says in these special days, from Tesvav Kislev and Yudalet, of course, coming in Tesvav until Chanukah, we should make farbrengens everywhere. Mamash, everywhere. Not only in the central places, rather in each and every private location. And we should see to it that each and every private individual location should turn to become a central location. Just as when the Levana, where the moon is full, it doesn't receive its life anymore from the sun. It generates its own light, just as the sun does. And this surely will not bother any other locations and go full force. Adraba kin'as sofrim tarbeh chokhmah, that if they will jealous because you did so many beautiful farbrengens, let them make even nicer farbrengens. And Rebbe said it's kedai that each and every one should make farbrengen, and even better 3 farbrengens, to emphasize that each and every one of us is not only a makabel, is not only a receiver, but is also a mashpia, reflecting our time. And in this farbrengen, it's important to awaken the 3 amudim of Torah, Avodah, Tefillah, and Gemilus Chasadim, mitzvahs. And the main thing that through this, the Geula should come. And this what Yaakov was requesting in the name of the whole Jewish people. Leshev b'shalva, Parashas Vayishlach. Bikesh Yaakov leshev b'shalva, that he wanted to dwell in peace. This will be actualized, because when the tzaddik, the Rebbe didn't say it here, but many other times, when the tzaddik wishes and goes or something, it has to happen one way or another. So this will be fulfilled immediately in the 3rd temple, in the Geula, Mitzvah Shleima, take up miyad mamash now. We should all live in peace in our holy land, in the 3rd temple, and the Gvulos, as Chazal say, the boundaries of Eretz Yisrael, of the land of Israel, will reach Damascus. That's what the Chazal say. And the 3 extra lands, the countries of Keni, Knizi, and Kadmoni, the 3 extra nations that are part of the 10 nations that are completing the Holy Land, will be given to us b'derech menucha, in a peaceful way. That's what the Rebbe promised us. So it should be taken miyad mamash now. We see that already the miracles of Syria falling without us needing to do really almost nothing, and how in short few days the entire army and navy and air force that was built with years after year, many years, supported by Iran and Russia, is destroyed by the Israeli air force without even any resistance. It's a miracle שאין כמוהם. And just כי ימי צאתך מארץ מצרים הראינו נפלאות. That we should see the similarity of כי ימי צאתך מארץ מצרים. The miracles now should resemble the miracles of Mitzrayim, when the firstborns were fighting their own government. They made a rebellion. And this is what's happening now. They are their own people fighting themselves and destroying the country that was a source of tyranny and torture to its own people and the Jewish people. And so it should continue with good news, b'chesed u'berachamim, and it should be zocher to celebrate together in Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi Ba'anitzchi with the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin and all the Rebbeim, B'geula Amitis V'Ashleima, teku miyad mamash now. And whatever good is in Shio should stand l'schus all those who are kidnapped and should be brought home immediately, and all the soldiers should be protected, none should be hurt anymore, and all those that got injured and hurt, including today, should heal miraculously, and those who gave their lives for just being a Jew, for belonging to God, they should, for sure, they are already in Gan Eden Elyon, and they should radiate from their light onto our souls and bless their families with the comfort of the Geula Amitis V'Ashleima and Tchias HaMeisim. Teku miyad mamash now.
Amen.
Good news from everyone, beguf u'benefesh.
Amen. Golda had wanted to also dedicate the shir in honor of her father's yahrzeit, which is this week. Golda, I don't know his name.
Unmute yourself, Golda, yes?
Yeah, I'm unmuted.
Okay, we want to hear your father's name.
My father's name was David ben Yaakov Halevi.
You are Bas Levi.
I'm a Bas Levi.
Wow,
And my mother
me
was
too.
a Bas Cohen.
So Reb David ben Yaakov Halevi should have Aliyas Neshama, and he should be basking in the divine light b'toch simcha v'tuv levav, and should be a good better for you to live many happy, healthy years when with your light shining bright, or brining light, shining bright, and good and happy with good friends and good news, and you should be zeicher to see Mashiach finishing the job, and we should dance together in the Beis HaMikdash tonight. Be'ezrat Hashem.